Life has a funny way of playing tricks on you. Just when you think you've finally put the past behind you, the universe throws you a curveball so wild it makes you question everything. 3 years ago, I traded in my nursing scrubs for a business suit and open Vista Art Gallery in downtown Portland. It was the best decision I ever made. The gallery is booked solid 6 months in advance, and I've built an incredible community of local artists who inspire me every day. And fun fact, my dream was partially funded by my divorce settlement from Derek. Probably the only good thing to come out of that 8-year train wreck of a marriage. Where do I even begin with Derek? Picture the ultimate mama's boy, a corporate lawyer whose world revolved around his family, especially his mother, Barbara. Now, that woman could make a monster-in-law look like a saint. Nothing I did was ever good enough. My cooking? Wrong. My career? Unworthy. Even the way I folded their precious family tablecloths was deemed unacceptable. And then there was Karen, Derek's sister, a walking, breathing judgment machine. She had a habit of waltzing into our home unannounced, tearing apart everything from my decor to my selfish decision to focus on my career instead of popping out grandchildren for their perfect family. The final straw came when Derek began sneaking confidential work documents home for me to review during my overnight hospital shifts. Turns out, he was using my medical expertise to build legal cases against healthcare providers, without my knowledge, consent, or even the courtesy of compensation. Ethical, right? When I confronted him, he had the audacity to say, "But we're family. Family helps each other." Yeah, no. The divorce was a battlefield. Derek and his family threw every dirty trick at me to make me look like the villain. They even sent Martha, Derek's new wife, into my gallery, pretending to be a potential buyer just to dig up dirt. Poor thing looked so uncomfortable. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Now, she's living my old life, probably folding those damn tablecloths exactly the way Barbara likes them. For the past 3 years, I thought I was free. The gallery was thriving, I had amazing friends, and I was finally dipping my toes into the dating world again. Life was good. Was. At 11:30 p.m., I was in my home office, putting the finishing touches on proposals for next month's featured artists, when a loud, frantic pounding shook my front door. My stomach tightened as I glanced at the security camera feed. Standing on my porch, looking desperate and angry, was the unholy trifecta, Derek, Karen, and Barbara. The pounding grew louder. "Teresa, open this door right now. You owe us this." Karen's shrill voice sliced through the night. I grabbed my phone and hit record. "I'm calling the police if you don't leave," I warned through the door. "Just talk to us." Derek pleaded, trying to sound reasonable. I knew that tone too well. It was the same one he used in court, the one laced with manipulation. Then Barbara's voice, weaker than I remembered, wove through the chaos. "I have cancer, Teresa. Stage 4. They're giving me 6 months." I froze for a moment before shaking it off. "Not my problem." "I'm sorry to hear that, but it's not my responsibility," I said, my voice cold but firm. "You're a nurse." Karen shrieked, slamming her hand against the door. "You took an oath. You can't just." "I'm an ex-nurse," I snapped. "And that oath doesn't mean I'm required to provide personal care for a hostile ex-family." "Personal care?" Derek's voice rose. "She treated you like a daughter." I let out a bitter laugh. "You mean like when she told the divorce court I was an unfit wife because I worked night shifts? Or when she spread rumors that I was stealing drugs from the hospital?" Karen started kicking the door. "You ungrateful little." Thank God for Tom. At 65, my retired cop neighbor still carried the presence of a man who could make grown criminals cower. Dressed in his security guard uniform, he appeared just as Karen's foot made contact with my door again. "This is a private matter," Derek started, but Tom cut him off with a steely glare. "Private property. Past 11 p.m. visible damage to the door. Doesn't look very private to me." Karen practically screeched. "She needs to help our mother. She's dying and Teresa's too selfish to." "What I see," Tom interrupted, "is 3 people harassing a woman at her home. I've got Portland PD on speed dial. Want to test how fast they respond to a retired officer's call." Barbara started sobbing, but where her tears might have once chipped away at me, now they only fueled my anger. "You have professional care options," I said through the door. "You're choosing not to use them. That's not my problem." "This isn't over," Karen spat. I held up my phone, smirking. "Oh, I hope you try something. Everything's recorded, including the door damage. You pull another stunt like this, and I'll file a restraining order so fast it'll make your head spin." They finally left. Derek practically carried Barbara to the car while she sobbed dramatically. Karen turned back just long enough to flip off my security camera, the final petty flourish of the night. By morning, my lawyer had the security footage, door repair estimates, and restraining order paperwork ready to file. Karen's obscene gesture? The cherry on top of my evidence Sunday. You'd think that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, a storm erupted on social media. Karen posted a sob story on Facebook about the heartless nurse who abandoned her dying mother-in-law. It went viral in local community groups, and soon, my gallery's review pages were flooded with 1-star ratings. Strangers, people who knew nothing about the situation, called me every variation of cruel and heartless imaginable. Then, amidst the flood of hate, a private message popped up. From Martha. Can we meet somewhere private? There's something you need to know. We met in a coffee shop 3 towns over. Martha looked exhausted. Dark circles framed her tired eyes, barely hidden behind the oversized sunglasses she wore indoors. She flinched at every noise, her fingers curled tightly around the coffee cup, as if it were the only thing keeping her steady. They don't know I'm here, she whispered. I told them I was running errands. She took a shaky breath, glancing around as if expecting Derek or Karen to burst through the door at any moment. Barbara's refusing hospice care. She fires every nurse they bring in, saying only you were good enough. But that's not the real reason. Sliding her phone across the table, she let me see what she couldn't say out loud. It was their family group chat, hundreds of desperate messages, their words unraveling a story of financial ruin. They're drowning in medical bills, Martha explained, her voice barely above a whisper. Barbara's insurance won't cover private nursing, and they're too proud to accept state assistance. They figured if they could force you to quit the gallery, it would solve both problems, free nursing care and revenge for the divorce. I stared at her, stunned. Martha let out a humorless laugh, shaking her head. I can't believe I got dragged into this mess, she muttered, pressing her fingers to her temple. Karen is completely unhinged. Yesterday, she screamed at me for even suggesting a nursing home. And speaking of Karen, she escalated quickly. First, she loitered outside my gallery, glaring through the windows like some vengeful specter. Then she started coming inside during business hours, whispering to customers about how I was letting her mother die. The effect was immediate. Sales dropped by half. You need to document everything, Sarah, my lawyer friend, advised over lunch. Every post, every visit, every lost sale. We're building a harassment case. So I did. I installed extra security cameras, gave my staff panic buttons, precautions I didn't think I'd actually need. I was wrong. It was a busy Saturday afternoon, one of our biggest gallery showings of the year. The space was filled with art lovers, collectors, and media coverage. And then Karen stormed in. Her face was flushed with rage, her voice slicing through the lively hum of conversation. Family loyalty. Karma, she shrieked. Leave, Karen, I said, my voice calm and even. Instead, she lunged toward the nearest sculpture, a breathtaking glass piece worth $122,000, and hurled it against the wall. The shatter was deafening. Gasps rippled through the crowd. How does it feel to lose something you care about? She screamed, reaching for another piece. My assistant slammed the panic button as I raised my phone, hitting live. Karen's rampage continued, her fury tearing through the gallery as priceless artwork crashed to the floor. She ranted about Barbara's suffering, about my cold-hearted betrayal, about how I was responsible for their downfall. Customers scattered, some running for safety, others pulling out their phones to record the chaos. The police arrived in minutes, bursting through the door as Karen hurled one final painting from the wall. They cuffed her while she continued to scream, calling me every name she could think of. But one thing she shouted stayed with me. We're losing the house. Are you happy now? Mom's dying, and we're losing everything. I should have felt bad. I should have felt something. Instead, I remembered. I remembered every cruel remark at family dinners. Every judgmental glare. Every time they belittled me for choosing my career over their expectations. Every smug smile during the divorce when they thought they had broken me. The courthouse was a circus. Karen's meltdown video hit 2 million views overnight, and reporters swarmed the trial. In the end, she took a plea deal, 6 months in jail, mandatory anger management, and full restitution for the destroyed artwork. Her tear-streaked, mascara-smeared mugshot became a local meme. Derek, meanwhile, scrambled for damage control. Turns out, high-profile clients don't exactly love hiring a lawyer whose family is caught on video harassing small business owners. His biggest accounts jumped ship. Then someone dug up the restraining order and connected it to the gallery incident. His law firm's partners called an emergency meeting. Now, Derek is practicing out of a tiny strip mall office, wedged between a vape shop and a discount pizza place. Barbara finally got the wake-up call she desperately needed. She showed up at Karen's sentencing, causing a scene in the courtroom, screaming about family loyalty. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation. Turns out, a toxic mix of grief, control issues, and prescription painkillers had been clouding her judgment for months. She's now in a very nice hospice facility, the kind her insurance would have covered months ago, had she not been so obsessed with making me her personal nurse. She keeps asking the staff if they fold the sheets with hospital corners, Martha said during one of our monthly coffee meetups, stirring her drink absently. Old habits die hard, I guess. By the way, Martha filed for divorce. I even saw her on a date last week. Seems the real care Barbara needed wasn't medical. It was learning how to let go. As for the gallery, it's thriving. After the truth came out, the local community rallied around me. Artists donated pieces for a special exhibition on overcoming adversity, with all proceeds going to domestic violence shelters. The waiting list for exhibition space is now over a year long. Tom, my retired cop neighbor, still stops by regularly to check on security, often bringing his famous sourdough bread. Your ex's family did you a favor, he chuckled one afternoon. Nothing sells art like a viral video of someone trying to destroy it. He's not wrong. The pieces Karen didn't manage to break, their value tripled overnight. The artists even updated their certificates of authenticity to include survived the gallery rampage of 2024. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. I ran into Derek at the grocery store last week. He looked tired, defeated. Mom's asking for you, he said quietly. But for once, I took my time picking out oranges, completely unbothered. The hospice has my number if there's a true medical emergency. Otherwise, we're done here. He started to say something else, probably about family obligations or forgiveness, maybe both. I didn't care. I walked away. The old Teresa might have felt guilty. She might have caved. But I'm not her anymore. People mistake kindness for weakness. They push and push, expecting you to break, then act shocked when you finally stand your ground. Well, this ground, my life, my business, my boundaries, they're mine now. And no amount of guilt-tripping, harassment, or flying glass sculptures will ever change that.